All right, guys. So with Joe Biden set to unveil his massive infrastructure spending plan in a couple days, on Wednesday he's set to reveal it. Jen Psaki came out and said that it's going to be in two parts. Right, the first part is going to focus more on standard infrastructure, roads, bridges, things of that nature. And the second part is going to focus more on like families and healthcare. Not sure exactly what that means, but regardless, I just wanted to set the stage for you guys. And I know I've talked about infrastructure quite a bit, but I mean, guys, this is the next big thing, right? And there's a lot of speculation in regards to what's actually going to be in this package, as there's some interesting bit of information that has come out regarding what the Democrats might try to stick in here, right? And keep in mind, guys, when these packages get up to like $3, 4, $5 trillion, I mean, they could stick all kinds of things in these packages, right? That's just how it kind of works when you spend more. So I just want to set the stage real quick, right? As the American Society of Civil Engineers has rated the U.S. infrastructure as a C-, right? U.S. infrastructure rates a C- grade. The American Society of Civil Engineers said Wednesday, with years of inaction by the federal government leaving the country with deteriorating roads and bridges, while airports, water supplies, and public transit systems need upgrades. The civil engineers said the U.S. needs to spend $5.9 trillion over the next decade, about $2.6 trillion more than would normally be spent to bring its infrastructure up to a safe level. All right, guys. So the American Society of Civil Engineers is calling for basically $6 trillion in spending. Now, obviously, a lot of us conservatives scoff at that price tag, right? And I'm just telling you guys, because don't be surprised if the Biden administration comes out swinging on this and cites things like this, right? That they saying we need $6 trillion, so we're gonna try to spend as much as we can, right? That's essentially what it's saying. The group said its infrastructure grade barely passing in the U.S. academic system reflected significant deficiencies, although a slight improvement from the D- grade in 2017, in part because of state and local government and private sector efforts to target repairs for water main leaks. The engineers, however, said of the 17 categories making up the overall grade, 11 were in the D range. That indicated a significant deterioration with a strong risk of failure, such as public transit, stormwater infrastructure, airports, roads, and highways. It rated bridges, energy, drinking water, and solid waste disposal at the C level, and just two areas, ports and rail service, in the B range. All right, so basically, our infrastructure definitely needs an upgrade. Now, again, just to remind you guys, Trump attempted to do that various times throughout his presidency, and unfortunately, he could not get Republican backing in order to actually get this thing done. So now the Democrats are going to try to take a crack at it. Now, also, it is rumored that the Democrats are going to try to stick a fourth stimulus check in this infrastructure package. And over 60 lawmakers now support further direct payments to Americans. And some of these people are also supporting reoccurring payments, basically a UBI at this point. Which, again, I just want to be clear, guys. I'm against a UBI that is added on to our welfare system, right? And like, as long as our welfare system is currently in place, I will always be against a UBI, even though I would support it if we demolish the whole welfare system. Okay, so I just want people to be clear. I do not support this proposal from the Democrats. Many Americans have been wondering whether there will be a fourth round of stimulus checks as the federal government continues to distribute the $1,400 provided in President Joe Biden's American Rescue Plan. So far, 64 congressional lawmakers have pushed for reoccurring direct payments until the pandemic ends. In January, 2 months before Biden signed the latest stimulus package into law, 53 House Democrats pressed Biden and Vice President Kamala Harris for reoccurring checks in a letter where they insisted that one more check is not enough. Quote, "It is very encouraging to see the inclusion of direct cash assistance in your current economic rescue plan. However, it is clear that during this unprecedented time in our nation's history that we must take unprecedented action," the group said. The letter, led by Representative Ilhan Omar of Minnesota, urged the Democratic leaders to continue the checks to the economy recovers with equal payments to adults and independents, prioritize those who need it most, and it will spend it quickest, and include older dependents such as the disabled and elderly dependents and those over the age of 16 still claimed as dependents. Okay. So that's an interesting point because I don't really support any more stimulus moving forward in terms of direct cash payments. But if they were to do it, I do think that sending it to those who are actually unemployed, right, under no fault of their own, not those who are just holding out, right, who are just trying to collect a check, or, those who, can work, aren't really looking for work. I think if they do more stimulus checks, because the lower income jobs have not recovered yet, right? The higher income jobs have recovered. I went over this stuff in my last video regarding the stimulus and the data, and how higher income people are not actually spending their stimulus checks, right? They're saving their stimulus checks. They're putting it in the market. They're not actually spending their stimulus checks. And that's a primary reason why I don't support it anymore. It's because the people that are getting these checks aren't spending it. The point of the stimulus checks are to stimulate the economy, right? That's the whole point. And if people are just taking their checks and just saving the money, right, then that's not stimulating the economy. Now, when you do send it to more lower income people, they do tend to spend it. But we have not seen the recovery that we've needed to see from the private sector for lower wage jobs, but we have seen a recovery for higher wage jobs. So I think there's definitely something that could be done there. But, at this point, a lot of people could just be not trying to get jobs, right? Because they feel like they may lose their unemployment benefits, right, if they try to get a job, or that, it could mess up the income coming in. And this is why I really don't like, these type of programs, because people are incentivized to not want to work because of fear of losing the money that's coming in. And the federal government has basically paid out so much money in unemployment that a lot of these people are making more money being unemployed than they are actually getting a job, right? And with the pandemic going on, it's not like the government is really getting on people for not really trying to find work. Okay, so this whole system that we have going on right now is really messed up, and I don't like this. Okay, and this is not something I support. So I just not really in favor of stimulus moving forward, not in terms of direct cash payment, unless they try to fix the issue of increasing employment for these low wage jobs. Okay, so in summary, in regards to the stimulus, there are a significant group of lawmakers that are pushing Joe Biden to include new stimulus, direct payments in the infrastructure bill. Okay, and keep it in mind, if this thing gets up to $4, $5, $6 trillion, which it definitely could, they could easily tuck something like this in there, and it wouldn't even make a scratch in terms of the whole overall spending in this bill, right? So I just want people to be aware of this. And next, there's also a rumor that the Democrats are going to try to take a second shot at increasing the minimum wage to $15 an hour through reconciliation with this next infrastructure package as well, guys. So there's a lot of rumors coming out regarding what can be in this package. And, it seems that the Democrats might take another shot at this minimum wage thing. So let's read a little bit here. Senate Majority Leader Chuck Schumer is considering putting a $15 minimum wage into the next reconciliation package, which will be focused on infrastructure. Multiple sources familiar with the New York senator's thinking told the Intercept. Senate Democrats attempted to include the wage hike in President Joe Biden's COVID-19 relief package, but the Senate parliamentarian ruled it out of order, and Senate Democrats allow that ruling to stand. An effort to overturn the ruling, which requires 60 votes, garnered just 42. Schumer has suggested to progressive groups that there is a glimmer of hope that the parliamentarian would rule differently this time. The new legislation is focused on infrastructure, and setting wages is directly related to the budget impact of any infrastructure spending. If there's even a small chance of it working, he reasoned it's worth the fight. Schumer, though, is encountering resistance from some backers of increasing the minimum wage, who argue that attempting to include it is doomed to fail, just as it did last time, and in the process, it will trigger another wave of indignation from the public at the failure. Debate over the 1.9 trillion relief package was consumed in its final days by anger over the lack of inclusion of the wage hike, with pressure on progressives to vote it down. All right, guys. So, as you can see there, the rumor on the block is that the Democrats may try to stick stimulus checks into the infrastructure bill, right? And there is a rumor that Chuck Schumer wants to also take another shot at the minimum wage increase. Now, in terms of stimulus checks, I already tell you guys, I don't agree with another round of stimulus, not unless it is super targeted, right? Super targeted. Now, in terms of the minimum wage, obviously, you know I don't agree with that either. But unlike the stimulus checks, I don't think this has a chance, right? I think that this is the Democrats trying to play the progressives once again and act like they're trying to pass this $15 minimum wage when they know they're not. Because at the end of the day, guys, like, if they really wanted this $15 minimum wage, they would have done it the first time around, right? Why would a parliamentarian rule any differently on this than she did the last time? Right? I don't think infrastructure spending is going to make a difference in regards to the minimum wage, because the minimum wage, it's not just going to apply to the companies that are getting the government contracts for infrastructure or just the federal government. It's going to apply for the whole country. So, you know, I guess he can make an argument that is more directly related, but I think that he knows deep down that they're going to turn it down again. And I think this is the Democrats' attempts to try to play the progressives, to try to make it seem like they're fighting for the federal minimum wage to be increased when they're actually really not. Okay, and guys, this is politics. This is how the Democrats play their base, right? They play their base by pretending to be for policies that they actually aren't for, right? They're pretending to be for this $15 minimum wage. Again, if they wanted it, they would have done it last time. Kamala could have just overturned it. Biden was like, no. So it is clear to me that they don't really want it. And, you know, this is just another attempt for them to, again, go through the same thing they did last time, to try to pretend like they're fighting for something that they're really not fighting for. And it's just another political game. So I would not expect the $15 an hour minimum wage to go anywhere, but I would be on the lookout, as I think there could be a chance as talks continue to rev up, and, you know, they could, right, try to coerce the Republicans into, you know, negotiating and trying to get on board with this infrastructure spending by throwing stimulus checks in there, by attaching it to it, right? Because at the end of the day, if you're looking at spending $3, $4, $5 trillion, you know, an extra $200 billion in there for stimulus checks, that's going to be a drop in the bucket. And I think they could throw that in there as a way to try to entice the American people to say, listen, the Republicans don't want to upgrade infrastructure and they don't want to give you more stimulus. And obviously, people are not going to turn down free money, right? Which, you know, like I said, at this point, I don't want the free money anymore. I actually want the money printer that they're printing all this money from, because it seems like the federal government has an unlimited amount. But anyways, let me know what you guys think. Make sure you like, comment, and subscribe. Most importantly, share a Black conservative perspective. Peace.